Playoff time is here, and it is time to decide who will be playing for a state title at the Unidome. My name is Cade Niss, and today we are bringing you Class A quarterfinal picks. Each game we got a breakdown. We've got a pick, and our ranker even threw in a score prediction for each game. So we're going to be talking anything and everything Class A coming up in a matter of minutes. Just want to say thank you guys. You're one of IAfootball. Just so appreciative of your guys' support. Class A has been blowing this up. One of the smaller classes, no doubt, but you guys have shown love. Just a bunch of schools supporting their program. We appreciate you guys for sharing this. Be sure to share this video around. Let us know what you think of our picks. I mean, we're going to make some of you happy. We're going to make some of you mad. Maybe some of you probably don't like us picking your team because we think you're jinxing you. But our ranker has been good picking so far. So I don't think it's bad luck too badly. But again, be sure to share this video to your friends so they can watch this. Let us know what you think. And go through and drop your 4 winners in the comments. I think I'm going to try and give everyone who picks the correct winners a shout out in the next video. So again, in the comments, pick each game as I go, and we can compare how we did next week. Let's see where we are at right now, though. I've done this every week. I'm going to do it again. 8 teams remain. Win this game, and you're off to the Dome. It's as simple as that. You'll be reseeded once we know our 4 teams. I'm not sure exactly when the association will do that. I'm assuming it'll be pretty quick, assuming the semifinals are next week already, which is insane to think about. I can't wait. You're going to see me there, so be sure to say hi. I'm going to try and bring IA stickers into the Dome. So if you see me, say, hey, what's up, Cade? You know, I love talking to you guys. I love meeting new people, and I love it. Just shows that you guys have watched my videos and IA Sports' videos and that you support what we do. So say hi. I'll bring as many stickers as I can, and I'll hand them out, and you guys can rep IA Sports in your classroom, in your work, wherever, because we're not going anywhere. I promise you that. We are here to stay. But nevertheless, enough about me talking. Our ranker last week, 5-3, not bad, not great. Our rankers overall did really well, 41-15, so you're going to want to check out how we all did. But let's hop right into the matchups. We got a lot to talk about, starting with Pod A, East Buck and St. Ansgar. East Buchanan is coming off what might be the win of the week last week, 38-7 over Lisbon, an absolute blowout over a team that our Class A ranker had at number 5. I mean, that's a huge upset in round 2. And St. Ansgar, on the other hand, continued their hot streak with their second win over the year over Lake Mills. Starting with the Saints, this defense hasn't allowed more than 10 points in the last 7 weeks, and the offense is averaging exactly 40 points per game this season. There's a handful of names you need to know, led by quarterback Jace Schweisau. He's got 737 passing yards with a 13-3 touchdown to interception ratio. On the ground, it'll be a lot of Connor King and Christian Michaels. I'm not sure which one that is, sorry. And Reagan Witt also has 8 scores to his name. The Saints defense is also led by Witt, and the squad is forcing over 2 turnovers per game. Their dual threat offense and stingy defense has made this squad a buzzsaw this year, and I will add St. Ansgar has the best win amongst all Class A teams over West Hancock. I still believe that is a really impressive win and something that cannot be underestimated. East Buck, on the other hand, has really come on as of late. 2 early season losses to 1A Sumner Fredericksburg and a blowout loss to Starment on a Thursday night kind of turned the IAfootball ranker away, he admits. But they've got some huge resume-building wins over Maquoketa Valley, Northland, and like I said, most recently, Lisbon. Ever since their Week 4 loss to Starment, the Buccaneers have outscored their opponents by an average score of 47-5. This team wants to beat you on the ground with Tanner Thurn, who's got over 1,200 yards and 22 touchdowns, and Hunter Bowers, who's got 875 and 13 scores. Thurn is also number 5 in Class A in total tackles with 85. Both of these teams want to punch you in the mouth and control the line of scrimmage, and you could argue they're the 2 hottest teams in the class. This is a close call, but our ranker is going with the undefeated St. Ansgar Saints to win and advance the Unidome, move to a perfect 11-0, and lock themselves a spot in the semifinals. The score for that game, he had 35-21 St. Ansgar, and I will add the spread on BC Moore, which is all algorithm. It's not human spreads as far as I know. It's all numbers based, has St. Ansgar as an 11-point favorite. So take that for what it's worth. Moving on to our Pod B game, Logan Magnolia and Woodbury Central. I got to say, Woodbury Central is one of my favorite teams to follow in Class A, and I cannot talk about them without talking about what happened last week. It's tough. Don't get me wrong. No one wants to be an official in that spot. Really close call. I'm sure you saw the video against MMCRU. I do want to give a shout out to MMCRU. They had a great year. I can't imagine a season ending that way. My thoughts, I feel awful for those kids, but at the end of the day, there's human error in officials, and nobody's perfect. That's all I can say. It was really tough. A lot of opinions and comments on Twitter, but I will say we're struggling to find officials. So those guys and those officials thought about that a lot. So just getting on them even more is not going to solve the problem. We need more officials in this game. I mean, umpires in baseball as well, covering IA baseball. So that's my little spiel on that. It sucks, believe me. I don't want any kid's season to end that way. But there's human error in football, and there always will be. So it's a part of the game. It sucks. It's a boring answer, but that's my thoughts. And you got to talk about it when you talk about that, because that was an incredible game. Jonah Peterson and MMCRU balled out and took Woodbury Central to the wire, and it looked like just an incredible atmosphere, an incredible game. And the way it ended, it kind of sucks, but at the end of the day, it is what it is, and we move on. And that's what I'm doing now. Drew Klunder last week, 18 for 28 for 273 and 5 touchdowns. He did have 2 picks. Zach Butler on the ground, 27 for 117 on the ground. And Klunder's favorite target, Eric McGill, 6 for 133 and 2 scores. Sam Monk also had 3 other touchdown catches. And it was really Woodbury Central's first test of a game since week 2, where they won 39-22 over Westwood. The Cats, like I said, are one of my favorite teams to follow, and our Class A ranker says the same thing. I've personally had a ton of fun filming them in the Dome. I've worked for the IHSA the past few years, obviously now with IA Sports, so I'm very familiar with Woodbury Central and Drew Klunder. They always put up a ton of points, always a ton of fun to watch. They've scored 39-plus points in 8 of 10 games this year, and the defense has been pretty stout too, only allowing 20-plus in 4 of the games this year and never allowing more than 30. And the teams match up way back in week 3. These two met, Logan Magnolia and Woodbury Central. It was all Woodbury Central, as Klunder threw for 298 and 2 scores, and Butler ran for 93 yards and 3 scores. Jaden Lloyd hauled in 147 and both of Klunder's scoring passes. The Wildcat defense was also able to shut down a potent Logan Magnolia rushing attack, holding them to just 4.1 yards per carry and not allowing a single rusher to eclipse 80 yards. 4.1 yards per carry may sound like a lot, but it's not too shabby considering Logan Magnolia averaged 6.1 yards per carry the rest of the year, so they definitely slowed them down, and Logan Magnolia averages 321 rushing yards per game. Loma, on the other hand, is coming off a tight win over Akron Westfield, and if they want to stay in this one, they've got to make it ugly. That's the bottom line. They need to find a way to get a lead early and capitalize off of Wildcat turnovers. The Panthers will need to control the clock and get guys like Evan Rowland, Calvin Collins, and William Anderson going early. That's kind of their 3-headed monster in the backfield. Loma is not really built to play behind. They don't throw the ball a lot. And that's exactly what happened in their matchup way back in week 3. They fell behind 18-0 right off the get. And when you're a run-heavy offense, it's really hard to battle back because you got to kind of abandon it a little bit. So Logan Magnolia, if they want to stay in this, if they want to make this close, you got to make it ugly. You got to find a way to get a lead early and hang on for dear life. I just think our ranker just thinks Woodbury Central is too much. We always talk about the stars for them, and rightfully so. Klunder, McGill, Butler, but it's the role players that separate themselves. They got so many guys that might not make an impact on the stat sheet as much as the stars, but they're really quality players. They're really coached. They're really well coached. And like I said, their offense is just so potent to pick up. So our ranker is going with Woodbury Central to lock themselves into a spot in the semifinals yet again, beating Logan Magnolia for the second time this year. Moving on to Pod C. Let's see what this one is. West Hancock and Wapsie Valley as I pull up my notes. The unstoppable force versus the immovable object. West Hancock has been virtually untouchable since their week 3 loss to St. Ansgar, scoring 38-plus in every week since then and even scoring 50-plus in half of their games this year. The Eagles boast 4 rushers with 500-plus yards this year in Jackson Peterson, Cale Zuhl, Mitchell Smith, and Kellen Smith. The defense has forced 24 turnovers, good for over 2 a game. When you think of West Hancock football, you think of a trench war and a game where you will need to be so much more physical than them, and most teams cannot do this. The story with Wapsie Valley is a simple one. They play defense. Against Class A opponents, I've said this before during the rankings, the Warriors have compiled 6 shutouts and have yet to allow an opponent to score more than 8 points per game. Their one loss is to 1A Denver all the way back in week 2. The name you need to know on offense is Trayton Sauerbrey. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. His 1,200 yards and 19 touchdowns are team leading, and he's proven to be the workhorse back for the Warriors. This is going to be an ugly, knockdown, 10-round battle between these two. And I'm not sure a team scores more than 20 is what our Class A ranker says right there. In the end, though, he's going with the team that's been there, done that, the team on the road to pick up a win, West Hancock. They are 13-point favorites in this game, according to BC Moore. And our ranker is going to take the favorite here to get a win on the road and head back to the Dome and try and avenge a runner-up season from last year. You know that's on their mind. You know it is. Moving on to Pod D. Madrid and ACGC. Your IAfootball #1 team is on the road against number 8 ACGC. The only matchup on the slate with 2 undefeated teams, and both of these teams will look to keep the ball on the ground. Madrid enters as our #1 team. They've played like it in the postseason thus far, beating their last 3 opponents by 26 or more. They're coming off a stomping of Central Decatur, 42-0. We've talked about the do-it-all man, Preston Wicker, a ton, and rightfully so. But a sneaky name on this team we haven't discussed much is Nash Ramirez. The senior is the second leading rusher with 800 yards, and he's also tallied a team-leading 70 tackles, which is good for 18th in the class. The Tigers haven't allowed double-digit points in 6 of their last 7 games. The Chargers, on the other hand, are also extremely run-focused. In fact, they've only thrown the ball 26 times in their 10 games this year. ACGC boasts a 3-headed monster in the backfield of Mike Fuller, Jathan South, and Anthony Solorzano. Each of them have 950-plus rushing yards at this point. Man, that'd be crazy to have 3 1,000-yard rushers. They're really close to doing that. I'd like to know how many teams do that. Maybe I'll do some stat digging. But defensively, this squad is led by Tegan Slayball's 63 total tackles. ACGC has been one of the bigger surprises this year, and they're now hosting a quarterfinal game against the #1 team in our rankings. At the end of the day, though, I think Madrid's Wicker is just too much to handle. Our ranker is going with Madrid. He'll just be too much to handle. Wicker is just a stud. Nash Ramirez, like I talked about. This team is only getting better at this point. They're just putting stompings on people, and I don't see that stopping now, says our ranker. He says, give me the Tigers to go on the road, get a victory, and punch their ticket to Cedar Falls. He has this one as a 27-21 Madrid victory. Well, that's it. That's what we got. We just ran through 4 matchups, did a good amount of talking here. So if our ranker has it right, it'd be Madrid, St. Ansgar, Woodbury Central, and West Hancock. That would be your #1, #2, #4, #1, #2, #3, and #4 teams. So your top 4 teams is what our ranker is going with. He's kind of sticking to his guns and who he has picked at the top. Again, be sure to drop a comment. Pick your 4 winners. Really curious to see how your 4 compares to our rankers. Maybe I'll give some shout-outs next week when we pick the Dome games. Super excited, though. This is an extremely fun time of the year. Again, be sure to leave a comment whether you agree, disagree. Give me your thoughts. Give me your comments. Love reading them. Always do. Share this with a friend. Tell them to watch. Tell them to make fun of us for our bad picks. Doesn't really matter. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, and good luck this Friday night to everybody.